We had a big announcement this week. I'm Tracie Gray, this is Devin Gray and Diane Brennan, and we are talking about real estate in Alberta and in Phoenix and how everything is being affected in the market right now. But especially in Canada, we just had a big announcement. Do you want to
Well,
talk about it?
I just always laugh because Diane and I used to be in media. Well, Diane still does her podcast and shows up on radio a lot, and Tracie's still in media. So we get what's happening in Canada, and that there really is a sense of the sky is falling because yesterday the Bank of Canada increased its interest rates again. Everybody was anticipating 0.75%, but it actually went up a full percentage point. So this is the fourth increase since the beginning of January, and so a lot of people feel like things are moving too fast, and a lot of people are confused as to what's happening, and it's just trying to work through all of the hype and all of the craziness that the media pumps out to get to the straight facts as to what's happening. So, and obviously, Diane, things are changing quickly. You've got inflation challenges down in the United States as well.
Yeah, our interest rates have been high for a bit here, and they're bouncing up and down. What our sellers have done is offer our buyers credits to buy down their interest rates. So I don't know if you can do
Really?
that in Canada. So one way to do that, we've got a whole huge influx of inventory too. I think we're at 18,000 listings. We were at 4,000 and we've gone to 18,000. So
Wow.
we've had a huge flood of inventory come on the market, which is what we needed. But with these interest rate hikes, it has stopped a lot of buyers. So a lot of sellers are offering credits, seller credits, money to help buyers buy down the interest rate so that they can get it to a more affordable thing. And I mean, interest rates are cyclical. So, it's a matter of just getting in there, getting in the home, and then being able to refinance when interest rates drop again. So,
Just explain a little bit more how this seller credit works.
sure. So let's say if it's a buyer's market, sellers will offer money back or a credit. Like they can offer a credit for anything. They can offer credit for closing costs, which can go towards HOA fees, lending fees, down payment, that kind of stuff. So they could offer anything, 1%, 2%, $1,000, $2,000. If let's say their carpet isn't top notch, but a seller doesn't want to put in a brand new carpet because they're worried that the buyer might not like the color, they'll say, hey, I'll pay for the carpet for you. I'll give you a credit of $2,500 or $5,000.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
the same thing with an interest rate, they can offer a credit to help them buy down. A point is like 1% of the loan. So they can offer money at close to help buy down the interest rate of the buyer. Do you
Right.
guys don't do that in Canada at all?
We do. Again, it's just the difference in terminology. So we most times call it cash on closing,
Right.
meaning that like we actually just recently had a situation. The deal ultimately didn't go through, but it's that typical situation of let's say you go through an inspection and find out that there's say $10,000 worth of work. The seller maybe agrees to half of that. And so they're going to bring the price down $5,000, but the buyer still has to come up with that money to do those repairs. So rather than actually reduce the price, they'll keep the price at a higher amount. But then at closing, they'll offer up $5,000 cash on closing, or basically a credit towards that. So we do that as well. I haven't heard of that bubbling up too much right now, but that certainly could be something that certainly would happen as we move through this. This is far and away the largest jump. I mean, the other two seemed big at the time by going up 0.5% once in April. There was an earlier one, January, February. There was zero point 0.5 in April, 0.5 in June, and now this full percentage point. So it's really moved up. It's at the Bank of Canada rate is at 2.5%, which basically puts our variable rate through the banks at 4.5%. And so for people that were used to 1.6, 1.7%, it really does feel like the sky is falling. So that's certainly something that would be interesting to take a look at to help incentivize some buyers to close. I'm curious in regards to, that's a massive jump from 4,000 to 18,000. has that just like, why has that happened? Why is there so much inventory now this year?
Well, I think sellers are realizing that things are slowing down, so they're kind of in a panic mode. Historically, July is the biggest month for closings. So,
Right. You
because kids
mentioned
are getting out of school, end of May. So people starting their house on the market. And I think people waited because prices were appreciating so much that they thought, well, we're just going to wait because then we'll be able to get more money. And now it's like, oh wow, things are slowing down. So we've gotten just a glut of houses on the market that people are like they're panicking. In previous shows, I cited the Cromford report as a stampede. So everybody's like stampeding to get their homes on the market, and buyers have kind of pulled back. Our institutional buyers have just completely quit buying. So they want to wait to see if prices are going to come down.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's that time of year that people go on the market, plus the fact that people who had been waiting because they wanted top dollar are now seeing that our median sales price is actually lowering, and we are now in a buyer's market in most markets. A seller's market has stopped in all of our valley cities.
It's always interesting about just different situations depending on the market. Real estate's so local. July being your biggest month, July and August is always when things have not an extreme slowdown like at Christmas time, January, February, because nobody wants to be shopping for houses in -30. But people would rather, yeah, that's right. People would rather be at the lake. They'd be rather sitting on a restaurant patio. There's outdoor concerts. As you know, our summers are so short that people want to enjoy it. They don't necessarily want to be out looking for properties unless they absolutely have to. So we had our June stats come out about a week and a half ago, and it showed that June was still basically in a soft balanced market, but a balanced market nonetheless. But I'm sure that once we get into early August and the July stats come out, we'll see that things slow down. As you know, realtors always kind of get a sense, and we're usually always knowing if things have increased or slowed down, and there's definitely a slowdown. And there's a lot of prices, a lot of sellers that are dropping their price. We saw a massive influx of inventory come on the market in May, and that was for the same reason, feeling that, oh, there's a seller's market, let's take advantage. Well, that massive influx of properties is a big reason why we got pushed down into a balanced market, because there was more inventory, and then it just got compounded by the 2 interest rates that we saw in April and June. So yeah, there's some tough conversations with our sellers right now about having to either take the house off the market because they can't get their price, or we are having to have tough conversations about dropping it pretty significantly in order to make a deal.
So is springtime your busiest? Spring and fall is your biggest selling season?
Traditionally April, May, June, but the last 2 years we've actually seen it go more January to March. It's been really interesting. Again, just as I just said, people don't want to be out in snow and -30. Well, the last 2 years they don't have a problem with it. But this year was 2 things fueled it. Number one was this anticipation. A lot of people that really do watch the markets fully anticipating a rate increase. So several people were out locking in interest rates and are kind of laughing a little bit that they've still got like a 1.9 or 2% interest rate. And then the other thing as well that's fueled it, and this is the one variable that might make Alberta a little bit different than the rest of the provinces, is that we are still seeing an influx of people, and this is part of what's caused the slowdown in BC and Ontario. Is a lot of people are finally saying, enough's enough. The prices are way too high. The average price of a property in Edmonton is about $425,000. It's $1.5 million in Vancouver. And people are saying, I can't get into the market. There's pretty good job prospects. I'll travel during the summer, during the winter time, but I'm moving to Edmonton so I can buy myself a single family house and actually put some money in the bank. So we are starting to see that. And, the increase in energy prices, there's a lot of money getting put back into government coffers. So quietly, Alberta is kind of starting to get back on track, but it's not helping with all of these interest rate hikes. And of course, the federal government that does have a long-term agenda about shutting down the oil and gas industry, as it's obviously got a green agenda, which is fine. But obviously it's coming a little bit faster than I think a lot of Albertans are appreciating.
So what happens when, are you guys allowed to refinance? So let's say interest rates, I mean, here they'll bounce up and down, we can lock in, but we're between 6 and 6.5. The lowest we were at was like, 3, maybe in the high 2s. So, but ours are always 30-year mortgages, sometime 15. I know you guys do 5-year mortgages.
Well, it can be anything. I mean, somebody could ultimately lock in for, I think the most that anybody would really seriously consider is 10-year, but the longer the term, the higher the interest rate. So, somebody might look at a fixed rate of 5 years. Like the variable, as I said, is 4.5. I believe, if I remember, a 5-year fixed based on the mortgage company we work with said it's at 5.9. So
A 5-year fix is at 5.9.
I believe so. I'd have to double check. I know that I'm just trying to think what the email that came out yesterday said.
But are you
So,
allowed to refinance, or would you get a prepayment penalty in Canada?
you have to wait for the term to run out, and then you can, yeah, for sure you can refinance, and that's what people do. So every
Yeah.
you sign up for a 3-year, or a 5-year, or a 7-year. When that term ends, you're free to refinance and get a new mortgage term, or sorry, new mortgage rate. If you, let's say you sign up for a 5-year and a year later you want to renegotiate, you have to pay a penalty to break
I
that.
don't like that. I've expressed that before. Like there's something nice to have 30 years of the same interest rate and have that security. I mean, that's crazy. 5 years, things can change. You can lose your job. Then what happens if you lose your job and you can't qualify to refinance? Like, what do people do in those situations?
Yeah, it's a challenge for sure. That's why people will look at co-signing. Some people look at rent to own. Some people like right now. I'll go out with a couple, and they'll be like, yeah, we both want to be on the offer, and then it's like, well, make sure you're pre-approved and have your conversation with your mortgage broker, and then a day or 2 days later, they're getting back and saying, you know what, it's only going to be me on the offer because so and so might have bad credit, or is on mat leave, or just lost their job, or just started a job, and so they don't have that credit history or strength of looking good, that it actually is going to bring down the ability to qualify, or they're going to have to buy a lesser property because of how the two of them qualify.
But let's say you're
So
in a house and your 5 years is up and you have to refinance and you both lose your jobs. What happens? You're
well,
out of your house or what?
yeah,
Like, that's
no,
crazy to me.
the bank that you're currently with will renegotiate, but will provide you another mortgage. But what a lot of people will do is at the end of the 5 years is they'll go shopping. Like, let's say you're with CIBC, well, they might phone RBC, or they'll phone a mortgage broker, or phone one of the other banks. They might go into the B lenders, look for somebody that's basically prepared to offer them a better rate.
But
But
they
if you
can,
know that
without a job, they can refinance.
they can, with the bank, yeah, the current bank that's with them, if that bank's providing that mortgage, they will, they can always say no. There's always that possibility, and we've heard that all the time about people calling in loans, and people having to foreclose. But ultimately, no, the bank that you're currently with, the lender that you're currently with, will provide you a new mortgage at whatever rate. But what it does is it dramatically reduces your power to negotiate, because you're pretty much stuck with whatever they're providing.
But Diane, you put a really good point out there. And when you say a lot can change in 5 years, look how much has changed just in 5 months.
Yeah.
With interest rates and real estate. So yeah, it's a big difference between 5 years and 30 for your mortgage.
Yeah, but for sure, there's a lot of people right now that are, let's say they're 2 years left, or maybe a year, like, they've got a year left on their mortgage right now, and they're going, well, geez, it'd be nice, you could, and a lot of times that's again about sitting down with the bank and sitting down with the mortgage broker. This happens a lot, where they'll say, hey, you know what, you might have a $5,000 penalty if you break your mortgage today, but if you break your mortgage, pay the $5,000 penalty and sign up at this new mortgage rate for the next 5 years, you're going to save $30,000.
Yeah.
So you
Okay.
net out $25,000 savings. So it's again about sitting down with that lender or that mortgage broker and deciding, okay, what's best for you? Should you ride it out and take your chances that interest rates are going to come down, or should you pay that penalty to break out, to break, so that you can take it? It's ultimately about saving money.
Right.
So
So so that's good. At least you're guaranteed to get a mortgage that you
oh
might
yeah,
get hooped on
yeah.
the interest rate. So here, if you refinance, it's like qualifying for a new mortgage. So if you lose your job, you cannot refinance. You're stuck with that old rate.
Oh wow, okay.
You have to go through the whole thing as if you're a new buyer. So at least you have the guarantee in Canada that your bank or your mortgage holder will give you
Yeah,
another
I mean, there's
mortgage.
like you said, there's always that possibility, and with the various circumstances in that. But yeah, again, and the thing is that banks, because otherwise you're going to default, and the banks don't want houses, as you know, they want you to continue to pay your mortgage, and so they're going to take a look and say, okay, well, circumstances as they are, you've been paying. The history is you've been paying your mortgage, things have been good. We see no reason to move forward with that based on whatever the current rates are. I guess, ultimately they'll cross that bridge when they get to it. But for example, we just had a mortgage renewal come up. We just got the papers in the mail, and it's just basically pick your mortgage rate, and off you go. Like we're not pulling out notice of assessments and not handing,
Bank statements, nothing,
no,
or
nothing. It's just
no employment.
pick your mortgage rate,
Okay.
and send it in. Yeah,
Canada, you've redeemed yourself there.
Yay, check one up for Canada.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a good thing, but wow, that's sure. Yeah. I like the 30-year deal.
I always think in real estate, there's always pros and cons to every situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously.
Well, we're still winning being able to write off that mortgage interest.
For sure. We hear that a lot. Yeah, we hear that a lot in Canada. That would be very nice to be able to do. Yeah. We're able to do it on rental properties, but not on your own personal house.
Start charging that wife rent, right? Well, then you could do it.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah. Oh, a big difference there. All right. So Diane, did you have any more comments on that you wanted to throw in for today's show?
I'd say, well, getting a mortgage in the US is a lot easier. That's what I'd like to say.
I thought we'd redeemed ourselves in Canada. Now we're
and we can write off the interest. So I'm just encouraging anybody, if they are interested in purchasing in the Phoenix metro area. I'm originally from Edmonton, so I am Canadian as well. And I've been helping people, Canadians, purchase and buy and sell property here in the Phoenix metro area. So if you're interested in talking about that, I would love to be able to assist and answer any questions you have. My number is 602-620-2277. And my email is can'trememberheremail@gmail.com. My podcast is Own It Girl, that real estate show for women, but we do have men on there. If anyone wants to listen, it's at your favorite place to get podcasts.
Perfect. Yeah. And then Devin, how can they reach you?
Yes, if you're looking to buy or sell in the Edmonton area, just reach out to me. You can call me at 780-951-9279, or you can email me at Devin, DEVIN, at mogulrg.com.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of Alberta to Arizona. That's Diane and Devin, and we do a show every week, so we'd love for you to catch us again.
Thanks and to make it legal, I'm with Coldwell Banker, and you're with Mogul Realty, right?
That's right.
Oh yes, and EXP Realty and Coldwell Banker. Yes, thank you for that.
Yes.
We normally mention that off the start, but we were mixing things up
that's right.
today.
Now we won't lose our licenses.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we're realtors. We have to say that. I don't know if anybody knows that.
Professional real estate agents.
Professional, yeah, we gotta throw that.
Yeah, professional real estate agent.
And I'm a real estate investor. Do we need to throw that in there, or it's all good?
And a wonderful TV host. And
well, I mean,
TV personality.
I'm redeeming myself just like Canada is. All right, thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next show. Bye.